to this week's episode of Diesel and the Beard.
Welcome back to episode 9 of the Diesel and the Beard, featuring yours truly, the Beard, aka the Commish,
Diesel and the Beard,
and
the Diesel.
That's
Opposite the Beard, aka
That's right.
Wizard.
Got a lot to get to today. I'll give a quick outline before we jump in. We're going to feature another guest appearance from the one-time champion, Kyle Silva, guest of honor. He's one of the legacy owners. Dorian and I are really excited to be having him join us. He's waiting, so I'll be quick. We're going to do a week 6 recap. We're going to grade the grabs. We're also going to do another man's trash. So we'll look at a couple of the guys that were dropped, which I think could put an interesting spin. Mailroom, we've got some. We're going to tie that into Silva's spot. Bet365 edition with the Wiz. We're going to look at last week's picks. Dorian went 2-1, and we're going to look at some picks for this week. I'd like to do a week 7 preview in the KFFL. There's lots of action to get to. There's 2 trades we're going to look at, and then I want to close down. Let's close down, Dorian, with some NFL news.
Cool. Sounds good. Sounds like a fun time. So do you want to bring Silva in now?
Yeah, I mean, we can if you want, and then we can switch on from there if that works for you.
We'll just call him a co-host this week, and we can get
Sure.
his. We'll pull on his feedback on some of the stuff, some of the grade, the grabs, and Silva's got a deep football knowledge. Most of you know
He's a champion.
He is a champion. He's with Nielsen, which kind of takes a little bit of his credibility away just because he's not a full owner. So, he doesn't have full say over everything. But anyways, without further ado, let's bring in Kyle, one-time champ Silva.
Let's see it.
There he is. All right. Panther fan. Is he wearing
I can't see him.
What up, boys?
What's up?
G'day.
What's going on?
So we just did a quick intro here. We were going to just kind of bring you in for a little segment, but we'll just kind of let you co-host along with us for most of this until you got to bail out. Just you can get your say in on some of this, because sometimes Andrew and I can be biased depending on what we think. So I think a third perspective on grading the grabs or how weeks go or football bets, I think that could all be beneficial. So
sounds good. At least someone can
welcome.
stick up for Drake now that he snapped.
Oh boy. Get me started. Ship him.
Oh boy.
So we just did the syllabus, and I guess we'll just start right from the top. Kyle, you can kind of poke your head in where you feel necessary. So week 6 recap. I got absolutely trounced by AJ. No surprise here.
Well, the caveat for you, Dorian, was you were missing some guys, right?
Yeah, I'm missing some guy. The real caveat was pretty much what I've been saying since week 2 now is I have too many Packers. And if the Packers have a shit week, I'm toast. And the Packers did have a shit week. And I got trounced in betting. Not totally smashed. I didn't have them on a bunch of parlays or anything. But I lost money on the game itself. And Rodgers goes out and throws up a 5-burger, which is back-to-back weeks where my quarterbacks didn't put up 6 or more points. So that's a big red flag flying. But yeah, you did fucking pretty much. I mean, your team went Nuketown, so like you didn't need to go Nuketown to beat me because I didn't put up much of a fight. But you and I were watching that game together and watching fucking Henry in the third quarter go 94 yards to the house.
Yeah, man.
Bouncing around.
You were mad.
It put him over the 200. I think it went right from over 150, right over 200 bonus, gets a touchdown. I'm like, whatever. If Rodgers has a night, I can stay competitive. The next fucking play was
Fuller,
Deshaun Watson to Fuller for 54 yards and a TD.
Yeah.
Then the game goes to overtime, and not only does Henry get left for a fucking 40-yard trollop down the sideline, he then goes to QB in a wildcat offense and rushes in for the game-winning touchdown. At that point, I didn't want to give you the early congratulations just because it's dirty, but it was a fucking.
And thank you for not.
Yeah,
Thank you for
I
not.
didn't.
Ever.
I didn't.
Don't do it ever.
Well,
Thank you, Dorian. I mean, that was a great little summary there. I'm not taking any pride in it. The wins, they really start to matter from here on out. So
yeah, back-to-back losses for me, really, they couldn't come out of a worse time. A start nice 3-1, looking good, and then just double poundings for back-to-back weeks. So
we're in COVID hell. We're in bye hell. I think a lot of guys are really struggling to make those rosters work. But like I said, we're getting through that, and I think now we're really going to see as the buys clear and the COVID disappears. Hopefully, we're going to hopefully see some higher level performances. Last week was a down week. I mean, I had 149, and then beyond that, it was 120s and 118s. So, but let's move on. So the next game I want to look at.
One sec. Like, yeah. Dorian, you have to get Rogers pissed off because when he's on his fuck you tour, he's going to snap for 40. Like, if I was you, I would be on Twitter just hounding him.
I still
got to get him respond.
Yeah,
he does respond.
I'm not off the Rogers train by any means. So, anyways, we'll see how I rebound in the weeks to come, but I don't mind a nice little retooling on the fly anyway. So if things turn south, I got lots of things I can move, and but I think I could still sneak into the playoffs, so not too worried about that.
So yeah, let's move on. So Powell sniped Chad. I don't know, Silva. Did you read any of that action back and forth banter between Powell and Chad in the group chat?
Yeah, I think it's great.
It's fantastic.
The league is at its best when the Chad is the bad guy.
The heel, eh? The ultimate heel.
It's hilarious.
Well, they played last week, and so just for the audience to be caught up, Chad gets into the Bud Heavies and he starts to throw down the verbal gauntlet. So him and Powell, they were classy. They kept it real classy, but they went back and forth. And so I'm just looking at the flow chart. I mean, it was super close. Going into Monday night, there was a slight gap and it just maintained. So Powell increases to 3-3. Chad, that's his second loss. He's 4-2, which sets it up nicely for the matchup between you guys this week, which we'll talk about a little bit later. So, but what did you think about that, boys? Like in terms of the outcome?
Go ahead, Silva.
Man, it's kind of like what I expected. Because Cody's got a sneaky team, and Justin Jefferson and like CD Lamb, like this was us last year with AJB and Terry.
Mm-hmm. Just a little early, you mean?
Yeah, like it's just a little early. Like he's like he lost Sanders this week, but like it should have been more if Sanders plays that whole game.
Mm-hmm. And now Sanders is out for a couple of weeks. Actually, yeah, that's tough.
Yeah,
so
Sanders gone. Which a lot of people kind of thought might have came. He's kind of a smaller back, but
he's kind of developed a bit of a reputation now for a guy that can't stay healthy. I mean, I know it's early on, but he had a preseason injury. Now he's got another injury. I mean, there's certain guys that don't have that genetic stamina to be able to stand up.
Who he reminds me of? The other running back starting on his team.
Who?
James Conner.
Yeah.
James Conner's always prime for a top 5 kind of guy, whatever. And then all of a sudden sprains his ankle going up the stairs.
Yeah. That's why Benny Snell was getting so much week in the early weeks, is because Conner's hasn't been able to stay on the field full time. Right. So, but anyways,
JV stumbles into a win over Craig. I mean, Craig's on the 0-13 tour right now. So, I mean, it doesn't, I think everybody's just looking at him as an instant win at this point. JV, I mean, he probably doesn't want to win at this point either, but I'm not going to spend too much time on that if you guys want to comment.
Yeah, those JV, I think both those guys are non-playoff teams. I think they should both be Craig has sold off his assets and JV shouldn't be far behind him. Sounds like he's already kind of started. I don't think it's that much of doesn't mean much for the league this week.
Craig needs a name change now, but that's it.
Oh, well, I got a little you didn't see the show notes, Silva. I got a comment about that coming up here later. So thank you. I got a note on my brother failing to break 100 for the third time this year and second week in a row, falling to Jake. That to me, that made it a lot more interesting. You know, it sucks for my brother, obviously, but when you now look at the standings and how many, the difference between 4-2 and 3-3 is a game. You know what I'm saying? So, if you're if Cody had maintained the 5-1, I mean, you can lose and it doesn't really rattle you too much. Whereas 4-2, if he were to lose this week, he's playing against Powell, who is 3-3. I mean, that essentially could drop my brother to 9th.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing, Cody had a couple wins where he didn't put up huge totals too, right? Like he kind of snuck by up.
Two,
where he didn't have great weeks but got the W. So like, are we seeing a mirage? Is this Cody real deal? I don't know where he's at. I mean, I've spoke to him a few times about players available, and from the sounds of it, is he's right in the middle. He could pull the pin tomorrow and blow it up, or he might try and just shake things up, trade a guy, get some picks, and go after some other assets. But I don't think Cody knows what's going on, so I don't expect us to know.
Okay, and then moving on from that, I mean, the dynamic duo Curb Stomped Rose. I mean, I think that was, and so the dynamic duo for everyone at home consists of our guest host Kyle Silva, and then good friend and legacy owner Chris Nielsen. And so you guys went up against a winless team, and you made sure that didn't change.
Yeah,
we were cruise control.
It looked like it. It really did. I think the final on that one was 116-68. So well done. And then the last one was Reynolds upsetting Loudon. That was probably, I would say, one of the bigger surprises for me, just because both teams, I mean, those two guys, it's going to be musical chairs, and I think one of them's probably not going to get in. And so, Loudon's team appeared really strong. And when you look at the Fantasy Pros rankings, he still does appear strong just based on roster value. And so to see Reynolds make some key additions and key moves, I mean, it's impressive. Travis Kelce, the 16.5. Kirk Cousins put up 35.72 points. I mean, those are pretty much hand in hand with his win right now.
Yeah.
Missing Kelce yet?
Not at all. We like having our flex.
All right. So moving on then, we're going to grade the grabs bye-week hell edition. Yeah, it's been how do you compare this year to other years of fantasy, Silva? It's been a real struggle just trying to find plug-in players in when guys get COVID or teams get random buys thrown in throughout the week. Do you like it because it gives people like real good owners an opportunity to get creative? Or do you not like it because it's going to separate the herd from good owners and bad owners by a bigger distance?
It's very interesting because typically in the past we'd build all of our teams kind of like the AJ formula, like, hey, we're going to go get 3 top 5 running backs and we're going to fill stud. Where Nielsen and I showed with the Craig deal is we're actually not after the stud. Like, we want to be able to start every single guy on our team because of a COVID injury, whatever happens.
Or depth.
So we're going more depth, and I don't want to say stud, but I like elite and then tier 1. So we're navigating in between the tier 1, tier 2 guys.
Mm-hmm.
And
with upside.
With upside. So like, that's kind of how we've navigated this season. Like, obviously it's working out. Mm-hmm. But that's how we're
remarkably nice. Well, I think here's the thing. The nice thing for you, Silva, and I know you're not this type of guy, but I look at your results, and and nothing against Nielsen. I love him. He's an important part of the league. He always has been. But the franchise trajectory was pretty plateaued, and then he brings you on board, and your chemistry, your friendship, and your strategy, I think when it's intertwined, you both bring the best out of each other, but you're definitely a calming presence. And I just want to make a comment on this. When I walked into that deal for Tyreek Hill last year, I've talked about it a few times in the past, and I can see you laughing about it. Man, I had a deal done, and it was a lot. Yep. I was paying a lot less than I ended up paying.
Yeah.
And you got your hands into that one, man. And in retrospect, well done. That's your fingerprints on the model, So
Nielsen is so good at so many things.
And of course.
I was looking at like his old teams before coming on, and it's always like a fucking injury or something. So like this year with COVID, like with COVID, I was like, fuck Nielsen, like, let's go get some depth, man. And he wrote down like 20 names we liked, and we just fucking hit the ground running.
Nice.
So he does a lot of behind the scenes stuff that I might be louder, but he's there.
He's the Ernie Adams, like you put
Yeah.
it earlier, right? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, let's switch gears here. So grade the grabs. I mean, you're familiar with this, Silva, and so we basically will grab the we'll grab the majority of the meaningful. We're not going to look at, I put mine in there because I got a free kicker upgrade, but we're really not going to look at defenses and kickers. Usually it's more so the roster positions. So because you're our guest host, I want to start with your opinion on each of these, and we usually will try and give them a grade, A to F. So
all right.
the first grab was Boston Scott by Craig.
A-. I like it.
Yeah.
Instant plug and play.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is when you call that Sanders owner and say, hey, for a 2, I'll give you a 3 back. This is what Craig just keeps rolling every week. He upgrades a pick.
That is the play. That is the play, is to trade him, but he's got to get a buyer. And if he doesn't get a buyer, what's Boston Scott in real life? He's an undersized back in a shitty offense, and
he's 5'6".
He is tiny. Yeah, he's 5'6".
He also had the world's slowest spin move.
I didn't see that.
It took him like 10 seconds to spin. His coach came over. He was like, they could have taken a TV timeout. It was so funny.
Man, he had 9 carries, 2 touches in week 1, and that was his job. And so I look at it and I go, I gave it a C because I wasn't looking at it from the trade angle. When you bring that angle in, Silva, which you and I would do, I'm not sure Craig's going to do that. So I gave it a C based on the owner. But in terms of the move, I love your angle on that. I really do.
Yeah.
What about you?
The other thing is, though, if you have Sanders, and then are you really going to go trade for Boston Scott? And now you got a bench spot taken up for when Sanders comes back in 2 weeks, and are you going to hold on to him and get rid of it too? Maybe, if you want that handcuff. But yeah, I had it rated as like a B-. Like it's probably one of the better picks of the week, but I just long term. It's always hard to know how you rank these. Do you rate them off of their 1 week impact or their year impact? And I always lean towards the year impact, and I think they're
both. I mean, it's both. I mean,
yeah.
you got to look at what was, the way I look at it is you've got an option to pick someone, right? And so I look at it and I go, oh, you have to make a pick or nothing, but that's a terrible move. Yeah. So who do you pick? And so I have the advantage of seeing everyone after the fact, right? And so that retrospect allows me to say, well, he grabbed Boston Scott over Jermichael Hasty or over a Jamal Williams. You know what I'm saying? And so, for me, Craig is probably not going to move Boston Scott. And I don't want to spend too much time on each of these, but I look at a guy like a Jermichael Hasty. I look at a guy like a Jamal Williams if I own Aaron Jones. Those are picks that I gave a higher grade to just because I thought there was a little more upside. That's it.
I mean, I don't like handcuff moves that much. It really is what it comes down to at the end.
You
of the
hate
day.
my roster then.
I mean, there's certain times I think they work, but like, how many times have we seen a handcuff come in and do shit and teams gameplay away from a backup running back? It's just
I sleep well at night.
Sure, I get it, but
there's some guys you handcuff and some guys you don't.
Exactly, Silva.
Yeah,
exactly.
Aaron Jones is right on the brink for me. It is what it is,
Yeah.
Anyways, moving on.
Christian Kirk. JV grabbed Christian Kirk. I mean, he had that massive bomb last week. I'm sure you guys all saw it. Up till then, though, he chased points. I'm actually going to change mine to a C-, and I'm going to tell you why. He's chasing points, not opportunities. He's chasing an outcome, not a process. Right. And so for me, when I see that type of approach, you could get lucky, but are you really going to bank on a Christian Kirk 80-yard bomb every week?
No, he's not a plug and play guy. Long term, I don't know. I don't see it.
I gave it a C-. I changed it.
I'm a C.
I like C.
Powell, Chargers special teams defense. Won't bother speaking about that. You guys can comment on Jermichael Hasty. I was just looking to make a move. I had to make a move. I needed to drop an extra kicker or special teams. And he just seemed like decent value if things work out.
I want to ask Silva this because I didn't actually personally. I usually watch a lot of film after the fact on Game Pass. Did you get a chance to watch Hasty run, Silva?
Yeah, he's fast.
I watched him
So
live,
fast.
and he stuck out to me. I remember
live.
I was like, yeah, because I was watching the San Fran game, and I was like, who's this hasty kid? Saw a couple plays. He looked good enough. Then the waiver wire came around, and then looked at it. I'm like, oh, Hasty's available. Looked at the running back situation, and I was like, that could be all right for a couple weeks. Maybe he's good. Maybe he's not.
Yeah, this could potentially be long-term play.
Really? Okay. Because I see
fast.
Mostert is not – I don't think Mostert is going to be available necessarily at a full capacity for the next few weeks. So this is almost an audition.
Yeah, like I watched a lot of film on this guy in the offseason, but then he went to San Fran, so he just fell off my radar.
Undrafted.
All of a sudden, opportunity.
Undrafted.
Was he undrafted?
Free agent.
In the league, yeah.
Yeah. I liked him. I watched him. I was like, he's good. And I got Tevin Coleman, who should be getting reps right now, but he's hurt too. So they're down to Jarrett and Hasty.
He's nearing.
Yeah, so that could be good. So, and I liked him. I actually liked Hasty. He looked better than McKinnon, in my opinion.
I've heard that.
Work.
One of the pods. One of the pods I follow, they said that. But again, I never know what to think. I know when I see it, I trust my eyes. But other than that, it's nice to get some different viewpoints. I gave that a C, Dorian. But actually, you know what I'm going to do after this discussion is I'm going to put that up to a B.
Yeah, I'm B minus just because we don't know in 3 weeks.
Yeah, that's the thing. He can sit on my bench, and he's either going to develop into a beautiful little peach, or he's going to turn into a walnut, and I throw it off of the bench. It doesn't really affect my team, regardless.
High upside, man. Yeah, high upside. The next grab was Tua Time by Jake. I gave it an A. I think that the upside is so big, and we've seen these rookie quarterbacks coming out of college way more prepared than they've ever been. I keep expecting one or two guys to hit from every class and then the rest to just falter. And it kind of began with that Kirk Cousins, Russell Wilson class. Those guys were so far down the board and they've ended up becoming, perennial studs. And so I look at a guy like Tua. I don't know health-wise with the hip, but I look at Jake's acquisition for free and I go, Herbert was paid for. There have been other quarterbacks that have been paid for. He just got a potential maybe league winner next year, potential week winner at some point down the road for free. So I gave it an A.
Nice. Silva, you and I had draft day talks about Tua. Who's going to take him? I took Burrows.
So we drafted him.
Yeah.
You drafted Tua?
Yeah, I drafted him second. Nielsen and I drafted him second last round.
Yeah,
and we cut him loose for roster. Like looking back at the wire, because this pissed me off, is we had a claim for him to go back. But Jake is the guy before us.
Yeah.
So
why'd you get rid of him? You just needed an open spot.
This is when we had all of our wide receiver injuries. And we just never circled back because we had David Carr, and truth be told, we're probably only playing Carr once, and it's Mahomes bye week.
Yeah.
So I'll give this an A minus, but I'm looking at this and I'm looking at Craig. Why doesn't Craig take Tua here if he's not trading Boston Scott?
Man, tell me about it. This is what I'm saying.
That's why I gave the Boston Scott pickup so high, because he's like, you're going to just get a quick asset. You'll grab Tua later. But I'll give it an A.
Well, you gave it an A. What about you, Dorian?
It depends if Jake keeps him. I think, but Jake's got three quarterbacks now. He's rolling Goff, Kyler Murray, Tua. So he's got
Goff
three
needs
spots.
to go.
Yeah, just drop him.
I like Tua. I think it's too soon for him. I think he needs another year. So it's kind of a hard play, because if Jake doesn't keep him, then this means nothing. And if he does keep him, it's kind of risk. But I don't think Tua is going to be as good coming out the gates as some of the other guys we've seen. I'm going to say it's a B minus play, though.
So we're all in that sort of upper echelon that it has a lot of potential. Yeah. Okay. I don't think we really need to spend any time on the Matt Prater. I just made a comment on it that I was able to grab the 5th ranked kicker, an upgrade from the 12th for free. So I just felt like boasting about that essentially. Jamal Williams. Craig picked up Jamal Williams. What do you guys think about that? If that's worthwhile or not?
Why? Like why?
To sell them to you? I don't know.
I could have had him for weeks now. I could have gone and picked him up as a free agent at any point. I just don't. I don't see it. He's not.
I'm going to change mine down. I'm going to give that a C. You're right. I just an aside. You guys mentioned
it's just like
some
a guess.
guys.
It's just a guess.
Well, that's what I mean. That's what I mean.
It'd be like me going out
you know,
and being like, "Oh, I got this guy's handcuff." It's like, well, who gives a shit? He's healthy. He's running. He's getting all the action. Who cares? It's like you can go do that with anyone. You know what I mean? Like,
I think
like
this
let's say
team
you
has
didn't
two
have
handcuffs.
Latavius Murray. I'd be like, oh, I went and got Murray. You'd be like, Kamara's healthy.
Whoa, this is where I was going with this. There's certain handcuffs that have borderline standalone value. Pollard, Chase Edmonds, Madison, Latavius Murray. You're absolutely right. I think it was you, Silva, that said some teams you don't need to pop. You don't need to pop the dollars for the handcuff. And I'm with you. I think that how do we know Jamal Williams is the guy?
Yeah, that's true. Because Dylan got some runs last week. But like, okay, here's the thing: Jones is the guy, and Jones is healthy. So like, you're just rolling the dice at which backup to grab in the league. I don't know. Oh, so he's praying for Jones to get hurt, and then he'd have a piece that I would need to acquire. That's it. So I don't know. It is what it is. I like Jamal Williams. I don't like his situation. Anyways. I'll give it a C. C plus. Austin Hooper, Reynolds, whatever.
Yeah,
I liked it. There was a huge run. I'm just going to comment. We don't have to analyze them, but there was possibly the most action after the waivers cleared that I've probably seen in recent memory. I mean, this is why I love this league. I'm surprised. I still get surprised at certain things. And so what I'm getting at here, I'm not going to count them, but it's over 2 pages full of transactions. And I think a lot of these are people trying to screw other people over by stashing players they feel might have value. And then a lot of it is, I think, bye-week replacements. But like, I'm seeing, this is insane. You're in there, Silva. I see your name popping a few times.
I was the first one.
The Dallas Goedert.
Here's a little something you didn't have in your show notes, AJ. That's going to be the biggest move of the year.
What's that?
Antonio Brown coming back off suspension. The beast himself, the number one receiver to get to 800 catches faster than anyone else in less games.
Number one for what team?
Pittsburgh. But now he's a free agent. He could land in so many places. He played one game in New England and looked like a fucking beast.
He is good, man. It's not about his skill.
So some of you know this. Silva didn't quite get the details, and AJ got some of the details. But I had someone come to me last night wanting Brown bad. They threw out a very high-end offer that had me shocked. I kind of suspected it was shit talking because it always is with this one particular individual. But the numbers that were getting thrown around for Brown were very big. Then this person talked to AJ, and AJ talked them out of the deal.
No. It wasn't a therapy session.
Oh, it was a therapy session. Yeah, this person's a little trigger shy to make their own moves. So
don't make me screenshot the chat because it's 4 lines, and
I can screenshot.
That is terrible dealing, and that's it. It was literally like your deal had no legs. You didn't need me to kick them out from under you. There weren't any. There was a fucking lack of.
I was given the offer. I wasn't like, hey, I got this. He goes, I love this guy. I could have the best receivers in the league with him. Is this what it would take? And I said, yes, I would do that. And then
of course you would.
He got
of course you would.
Point.
Of course he did.
Antonio Brown comes back into the league and starts on a fucking good offense and gets his shit. Okay, he's had his time where he's not in the limelight anymore. He's hating it. Antonio Brown can be a top 15 receiver in this league still.
Keyword is can.
That's bold. So what are you going to get in this league? Everything's about cans. People are probably foaming at the mouth for a Lev Bell.
No.
Hasn't had a good running back here in 3 years.
Don't get me wrong, Dorian. I'm not saying that it's not about the possibility or the upside. I play that card all the time.
It is.
I'm saying, what is that worth?
If he was already producing, though, the offer he sent me wouldn't have been enough. So he's like, he's rolling the dice.
I don't care. He's welcome to do whatever he wants. I'm just saying
You want those
when I was
picks for
asked
your own fucking self need. You want
There's no
them.
more.
You're thinking,
Ask Silva.
I'll give
Ask
you a guy
Silva.
that
Yeah.
plays. I'll give
Ask
you
Silva.
Joshua Kelly that I've been trying to sell for 11 weeks that nobody fucking wants. And I'll only take a 1, 2, 3, 4 because I'm such a nice guy. Let me brush your fucking hair.
Nothing like
You're
that.
looking out for your own interest, Kamish. And I will
My
be
interests
launching
are
a
vested.
full-scale investigation on the integrity of this league. You will be
My
audited.
my interests are fully vested and they're going nowhere. And so your whole fucking parade about me getting picks, I could give a shit about picks. Picks
That's the
don't
other
put my
thing.
name on the title.
So here,
That's
let me
what
say
I'm
this to
saying.
you: if picks don't mean shit, and I think me, you, and Silva will pretty much all agree on that.
To me,
I'd
not
rather
in general. To
I'd
me.
rather top end talent than a 1, 2, 3 because I've had the 1, 2, 3 many a times, and it always works out to the 63rd, 71st,
Yeah.
68th ranked.
They're rookie picks. They're rookie picks in this league.
Yeah, I would much rather have a proven vet that's putting up points than picks at some point. So really,
I'm with you.
what is a vet worth? You know, what's Michael Thomas worth injured? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, something like that. 1, 2, 3.
They're all good. They're good questions. I mean, the
It's
difference
more than
between
that, 'cause I
Antonio
checked.
Brown
It's
and
more
Michael
than that.
Thomas.
That's right. It is.
There's a giant cavern between the value of Michael Thomas, the most historically efficient wide receiver, 2 years in a row, broke his record and then broke the NFL record. I'm not kidding. Michael Thomas is by far and away historically the most efficient wide receiver to ever play in the NFL. And that's not an arguable.
Why didn't he get to 800 catches quicker than AB?
My point is, at this very
with a
moment,
better QB.
the difference in value between a player who is the WR1 last year and the player who doesn't have an NFL
who was the
contract.
WR1 2 years ago and is just not playing because of off-field issues?
I'm actually tired of hearing about this deal because it was so bad. It would literally have been the worst deal that has ever been done in this league. I would have had my phone blown up. I would have been like,
biased.
I have to take my phone off. It's not biased because I have no skin in the game.
The first
I don't care
offer
at all.
didn't have to be the first offer, but there could have been a deal made.
I wasn't even involved in the offer. This is what I'm saying.
Yes,
and I said this
were.
to you. I was not. I
knew you were involved as soon as he said, I like Henry now. And I said,
Henry's going nowhere. Henry goes nowhere.
I heard Henry's on the block, Silva. So AJ,
I could
frank it up.
Horse's mouth. The 3 running backs that are carrying me to a bye week currently are untouchable. Henry, Cook, Kamara. Bye.
What if I throw Des Bryant into the deal?
Man, your team
he
is
did
so
just
good in
sign with
2013.
my boy. He did just sign with my boy.
Did he sign?
Yeah, Ravens right before.
With Ravens, yeah.
Okay, I heard they were working him out, and depending on his physical, they were going to sign him. But I didn't hear that he actually signed. So.
Let's put that to bed, Dorian.
Sure.
I got a little segment here that I thought was neat. It's inspired by one of the podcasts I listened to, and I think with all the action that we've seen, it's worth mentioning. I mean, we want to add value to these conversations, so we're going to do this from time to time. It's called the Another Man's Trash. And what we're looking at here are some of the players that were dropped, and I think a lot of these guys have some level of value because, obviously if they're on bye, that doesn't mean they're worth nothing, but they are being dropped. So I had written down Alshon Jeffrey, and Russell Gage was another name that I saw get dropped.
Yeah.
Traquan Smith was also dropped. So I don't know. I mean, did you guys see anyone out there that got dropped you think might be worth mentioning?
I had to drop Jeffrey. I've been waiting on him since the beginning of the season. What really killed me was him coming off the IR list. So I actually had to just burn up a roster spot waiting for him to come in. Even when he comes back, is he going to be game shape ready? And honestly, I don't think I want anything to do with that Philly offense right now. So I just
I'm with you.
But I think I think Alshon could be a very valuable asset on someone's team.
Adam Humphries was dropped as well.
Yeah.
The name that stands out to me is Fitzmagic there, because I keep on reading that he's going to Dallas, and if he goes to Dallas, he's probably maybe a top 12 quarterback.
I mean, he already was, and he was in a terrible situation.
Am I the only guy that feels bad for Fitzmagic at this point?
No, I feel terrible.
a gatekeeper, a doormat for all these unproven rookies to come in and just step on them. The guy's moved homes fucking 8 times years. Like,
well, he said this was the team he cared about. He actually felt like this was his team, you know. And so when you hear that, he literally said he was heartbroken.
He's laying himself out on the line, going stretching for touchdowns, head first into first downs, playing his heart out. Tua comes out, does 2 fucking rollouts, 2 throws. Now he's the starter. He did two naked bootlegs in the fourth quarter versus the defeated Jets. Goes 2 for 2, and now they're like, "Yep, there he is." It's like, okay, I get it, but like, first of all, it could probably benefit Tua to sit for a full year, watch the offense develop.
100%.
Let fucking Fitzmagic let him work. You know, I feel bad for the guy, but.
I do too.
He does play meaningful games, though.
Gage could be big because I'm hearing Julio's getting shopped. And if Julio gets shopped, Gage goes right to number 2. Ridley gets doubled and Gage gets opened up. I think there's all kinds of opportunities there. Mm-hmm. Unless Ryan moves too, then the Atlanta just becomes a fucking gong show, which Rosie, it's time to move Gurley, I think. I don't know why he's holding on to him. Why isn't Rosie selling?
I don't know.
He came to me for a running back. He's like, "What's the price on Jones?" I'm like, "You're fucking 0-6. What do you mean? What's the price on Jones?"
I think what happens for a lot of these guys in that bottom table, man, is they wake up and they see who's sleeping beside them, and there's not a lot of competition. I mean, 7-6 is going to make the playoffs. 6-7 maybe, depending on how much these guys cannibalize each other. So if we're looking at a guy that's 0-6, it's not impossible. I mean, personally, it's statistically highly unlikely. But if he's like,
when is it impossible? Next week?
Well, statistically, if you lose more than 7 games, it's over.
Yeah. So he's going to lose 1 game the rest of the season. I'm sure if he
goes maybe
and
get in. Get in, right? But like, I'm with you, Darren. I listen. If I was, let's just put it this way: if I was in a position where I was winless, okay, I would have beat everyone to market on the fire sale. That's your advantage. 100%. You know that you're winless. You get there first. You stake your claim, and then everyone else is just dealing with scraps at that point. It doesn't mean that's, you know, imagine this. Imagine he makes the playoffs and spoils and makes a run. I mean, that would be probably more impressive, right? So,
but he's missing out on the opportunity to move his guys now, become a worse team, get the first waiver every week, and move that waiver to suitable fucking candidates.
Well, so I think we're giving
he's actually delayed himself. It's not just the players he has; it's who he can acquire by being a worse team. And throughout the course of the year, just keep this waiver guy, move him for a pick. This waiver guy, move him for a pick, and that over the course of a year is how you get phenomenal drafts.
You're preaching to the choir, bro. I mean, you saw me flip Dalton out for 2 pieces of soda.
I gave Rosie the same deal.
That's the worst deal.
What? Well, we'll get to that after, Dorian. We'll get to that after. We got it later.
What'd you say?
What'd you say, Silva?
I gave Rosie a chance to sell. I went to him, say, "I'll give you Kelsey 1 through 5. Let's get this done."
For what?
I think that everybody
Lev Bell was on that list.
Just as an aside.
Gurley? Oh, Thomas and Bell.
Thomas.
Yeah, that's why I said more than that.
Yeah.
Just as an aside, everybody needs to take time to get to know the league. This league is not the same as any other league I'm in, right? And so imagine this. A guy walks in. He's good at fantasy. He actually just won a league, which I used to be a part of. But he comes into this league. Man, I'm being told more trades before the draft than in an entire season, maybe 2. You know, so you walk in and then the waivers are way more active, and so you have this feeling. And I'm just speculating. I've never spoken with any of the new guys about this, but I'm just empathizing with them. It's like, well, wait a minute. You walk into a room, everyone's bigger than you, more experienced than you, and they all have championship rings or some form of championship. Are you just going to run into the group and be like, "Hey, here's my asshole. Why don't you fill it up?" Like, you know what I mean? I think there's a feeling out process to it. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, I'm opposite. If I go into a new league, I like shaking it up. I like letting
you do.
Know. It's kind of like going to a poker table. If you just sit there and play tight right off the bat, everyone goes, "This guy's a rock." Every time you bet, no one's gonna fucking call because they think you got the nuts. You go in like a fucking maniac for the first 10 minutes. People don't know who you are or what you're doing, and it just kind of gives you a more wide range of the type of GM you are.
That's why you're champion. That's why you're champion.
I guess.
You find that angle and you play it. You know what I'm saying?
God, how sick are you, Silva, of trying to talk? There's a line to walk here when you're dealing with GMs that aren't as good as you, and you're trying to tell them that you're not raping them. Do you ever get into that? Because I've had this a few times where I've had to.
If you have to
talk
say
people
you're not
into
raping
deals.
them,
Yeah, but like I'm being serious here. Like,
Okay.
do you ever get in that position where you're like, listen, man, I'm really not trying to fleece you right now. I just want to get a trade done and change it up or whatever. This is actually a good deal for you. Believe me. I've had this happen 3 times this year, and only once.
The toughest and like the most challenging part is youth.
Yeah.
Like I have J.K. Dobbins sitting on my bench, and he's going to be a fucking top 5 bell cow.
Oh yeah.
no question, man. No question.
And we haven't gotten one trade offer.
It's short-sighted. Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. And Nielsen reassures me every like week. I'm like, should we move him? Like we can't drop him. And people are asking for Drake over him and Gibson and Montgomery. Like
I'd take Gibson over him, but I wouldn't take Drake over him ever.
People hate waiting. People don't want to wait.
So like
that's the problem.
That's how you win championships. You have patience.
The running back,
so
like, yeah, like the running back evaluations 1 through 4. That's how you start.
That's right.
So now
it's a conversation starter.
So now that we don't have like 1 through 5 picks, I'm approaching deals. I'm like, okay, I'll give you JK, but it's 1 through 3. I'm giving you a pick discount. I'm like, I'm trying to rationalize it like that, but no one likes that rationale. Like they want the physical 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, which in a lot of cases
that's the
is not that
part.
good. You know, how many times because I was trying to trade out of the first round this year. I was just like, meh. Who's the best fucking running back to come out of the first round?
The talent significant.
Who doesn't look that good?
I like him.
He needs time. He needs time.
Taylor.
Like every young running back, that's like your thing. You like, J.K. Akers, Taylor, Swift.
Who's Akers? He's a bum.
Yeah. Right.
Hey.
Yeah, right. You're not tricking me, pal.
No, but like everyone in this league's competent.
Yeah.
Which is super ideal. Like you go into other leagues and it's like,
I don't know if they are competent because I had to talk to 3 guys pre-draft into Metcalf being a legitimate. It reminded me of year 2. Ed had to talk me into Julio Jones, and I'll admit this live. What?
That Lamar 3 trade, this is, I think, the benchmark that Silva's setting. You, on air last week, from another league, showed a trade that was so fucking disgusting that I actually felt physically ill hearing it.
And he dropped Gage right after that. It was Gage.
That's all I'm saying, bro, is there's a line here. There's levels. Right?
I'm talking about this league. I'm talking about this league.
I know you are.
Metcalf had to get fucking sold on people until Rosie, and Rosie was finally like, I'll take a chance. I'm like, what do you mean a chance? And it reminded me of year 2, Ed trying to give me Julio. Roddy White was still there. Julio was the 2. And Ed had to sit me down and be like, listen, Dorian, I'm not trying to fuck you. This Julio move might be the best thing you ever do for your franchise. And I was like, whatever, Ed, you're just trying to rip me off. He's like, no, man, like, just please listen to me. I ended up getting Julio super discounted, keep him, and then he was a beast for like 5 years after. I feel like I'm facing some of that in the league this year, where I'm like talking to people like, dude, this guy's good. What do you mean you don't like him and you like this guy over him just because you drafted him so you feel some sort of connection? And I feel like I'm battling with that more this year than anything. Just going to guys and having to like convince them, like, I'm not trying to fuck you, man. This guy's legit. Like, I don't know.
Well, I mean, you've also developed a reputation over time for winning trades, right? And so I think what happens, it's not unlike myself, man. Honestly, when I go into a trade, I don't fuck around. I don't try and start low. I go right to pretty near where I want to be. I'm right near the bullseye. Yeah. Because at this point, it's like, unless I wow someone with that blatant dropping of my wall, like we're not negotiating. I know what he's worth. I know what you think he's worth. Let's just get right to that. I do that now because if I don't do that, Dorian, I get exactly what you just said. I get this, it's like this defensive mechanism that I'm trying to trade rate them.
Yeah. But here's the thing with us 3, and I think this should be kind of considered, is we do a lot of trades. So it's easy to look good when you do a lot of trades because you only need to hit on a few of those to look like you're a fucking stud. AJ, you self-admittedly lost a lot of fucking trades.
I wouldn't say a lot, but I've made some mistakes for sure.
Bad trades for sure. And
Kittle was a throw-in on a Denver defense acquisition with Powell 2 years ago. It was a fucking terrible, terrible trade. Oh, no. Maybe my worst. Yeah, maybe my worst, right?
Looking back at the Lev Bell deal, it probably wasn't that good of a deal for me. I think I lost that deal by a lot. I got like a half a good season out of him, and then he had a hurt year.
When did you? Was that last year, Dorian? Because I'm gonna pull it up.
I think it was 2 years ago. He was right when he was like on fire in Pittsburgh.
Was that with me?
Yep.
Yeah. So
everyone talks about that deal, but I think I lost that deal. Looking at it from a standpoint now, I got a half a season out of Bell being a beast. So then he got hurt.
It was in 2015 because I didn't trade you the handcuff, and that's the year D'Angelo Williams snapped.
It was 2015?
I believe so.
Was that the year? That was the year you won, Silva?
That's the year I won. I used all those picks for other guys, and then D'Angelo Williams started.
So you clearly won that trade. And everyone talks about it like, oh, yeah, but, that was a loss for me. But I moved on because I do more. To be a fucking Hall of Fame batter, you have to hit 3 out of every 10 pitches for your career. That means
here it is, Dorian.
7.
I got it right here.
Pull it up. What is it? It's probably a lot.
September 8th, 2015 at approximately 8:54 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It was between Gronky Kong, which was Kyle Silva, and DeMarco Polo, which was yours truly, Diesel.
Yeah.
And so, Dorian, you, wow. So you moved.
I moved Joe Bell.
Yeah, so Dorian, you moved Le'Veon.
No, I got Le'Veon.
Sorry, you got Le'Veon. Yeah, Dorian, you received Le'Veon Bell 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And then Joik Bell went the other way. 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4. That's officially, I believe, the
biggest haul that's been for a running back in the history of time.
Yeah.
You were on fire this year, Dorian. You were on fire this year. I'm looking at your trades from this year. Wow. Adrian Peterson. Like, what was going on here? You moved AP for DeMarco.
Yeah. I don't even know how the fuck. Ed maybe? I got AP from Ed? I don't even remember.
You had Andre Johnson coming in. Like, this is
how did he get the how did I get the 1, 2, 3? Yeah.
You moved AP. So you moved AP.
Yeah.
And you've got DeMarco Murray 1, 2, 3, 4.
Wow, that was a great deal. Probably.
See, I mean, and this, as an aside, gents, I just want to make a comment on this. This is why I no longer adhere to the overreaction on trades, even if I do feel it's shit. I mean, obviously, the trade we were just talking about with you and Antonio Brown, that was pathetic, Dorian. But outside of that,
that's not what I wanted. That's what
I know. He overoffered. Yeah, totally. And I'm with you. Yeah. Rosie, you overoffered. Chill out. Cool your jets, bro. But man, this is what I'm saying. It's Silva, do you remember that Trent Richardson deal with my brother?
Yeah, I was calling for fucking people's heads.
A beheading.
I was so pissed.
Everyone was, man.
It looked bad.
It did look bad, man. And so in hindsight, I mean, DeMarco Murray ended up from that point on becoming a leading rusher in the league.
He won the rushing title. Maybe not that year, might have the year been after, but still.
But
here's my point. I do so many trades that like the cream comes to the top, and the shitty ones I do, they just get forgotten about, because you just keep doing them. It's like compounded. And I think more people in the league got to do that. Like Rosie's so fucking scared to pull a trigger. Like I can't hold people's hands through trades anymore. So like, man up and make a fucking deal. And don't come after Brown. Don't come after my player. But go do something. Don't sit on the bench scared to go in. Like just hoping the coach doesn't look at you. Make a fucking move.
Well, I think once that Hyman gets broke, the trade Hyman, then you're looking at it being a little bit easier. So
I kind of want to lose back-to-back weeks again because I will blow shit up and it'll be like this league is never seen before. Just like it, one day it'll be like Julio's on the market, fucking
that's what I love about you, Dorian.
Gordon,
Odell Beckham. That's what I love about you, man.
Do you want picks or you want players?
Well, I'm keeping Burrows. I'm keeping Akers. They're my future. So then I got 3 spots I got to fill out.
J.K. Dobbins would look great.
We could have our first. Nice. We could have our first on-air trade here, boys.
I gotta lose. I'm still like, if Rosie's not selling out yet, I'm not selling out at 3 and 3. I still got a lot of work to do.
You're still right there, man.
Yeah, but you're still right there. For me, the trading is more fun than winning sometimes. Just
it's
stashing little Easter eggs for later. Anyways, we're gonna obviously run along here.
Yeah, let's move on.
Talking about football, but so where are we going? Mailroom?
Yeah, let's move on. So
a plethora of fucking questions coming up. So we're gonna have to speed round.
We're not gonna go through them.
Well, yeah, we'll have to speed round the questions. So
Well, I'll open the floor to you, Silva. Let's with the mailroom.
Silva.
Usually we get 1 or 2 questions, so
All right.
we'll do it live.
I'll ask a couple quick ones here. PPR has become the new standard in fantasy. Do you see the KFL switching to it?
No.
It changes the values of the players. So what it would be one of those things, Silva. I've learned not to say instant no because that might, create a spark vote. But what I'm saying is there was a year when we introduced the draft lottery, and so we did it in a 2-year. So basically, what we did is we didn't want to influence the value of any trades that had already been done for guys that are looking at next year. So it's like if we introduced PPR next year, these trades would be affected.
Oh, 1,000%.
So if we were to do it as a league office, we would want to look at it being so let's say we voted on it right now, it wouldn't come into play in 21, it would come into play in 22. It would give guys sort of a full year buffer to adjust their player rankings and then, make moves. But I don't know. I mean, Dorian, you're an instant no. I don't like it either. I think a catch is nothing. I mean, but it is becoming a standard, if not something to compare to. So those are my feelings on it. We
just folded one of my leagues to relaunch the PPR, and I'm not really sold on it.
Is it? Is it a
You're not sold on it?
It's fine.
Yeah.
I just hate they run this screen pass and it's -2 yards, and all of a sudden they get points.
Man, you literally just nailed exactly what I'm talking about. You got points for nothing. You shouldn't have caught that
play.
Yeah, that play should have. If you were a veteran, you would have just let that bounce off your chest.
Yeah, the people love it though. I think it's more about this scoring obsession, and it's I can get more points. Now instead of throwing up 150, it's 175 or whatever. But I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid. I was just curious. But you guys thought?
Yep. No, that's a good question, man. Shoot the next one. I'll give you my early reaction.
All right, sounds good. Bell signs in KC. He's coming into play this week. Pre-draft rankings, CEH is number 1 overall in fantasy drafts in terms of a dynasty league in our league. Mm-hmm. Does he still go 1-1 if Bell's there in the offseason?
I actually think I think what happens is you're going to get a CEH. I actually heard an answer to this on the pod in one of the industry pods. So what I will say is I think what happens is Lev Bell climbs into the RB2, low-end RB2 discussion, and CEH drops down into the RB2. So you'd have one sort of as a high and one sort of as a low, and I think they could flip. You know what I'm saying? So if Bell decided he was going to be a 1-2 down back and then CEH is the passing down guy, you could maybe have them flip. But I think it creates a cap on the overall. So what I'm getting at in my answer is that CEH was alone. He was a first round redraft pick.
Yeah.
I think he drops to a second or a third round redraft pick.
Because Andy Reid loves workhorse running backs, so it could very well just be a Bell show.
Easily, man. What do you think about that, Dorian? You're muted.
I think Bell kind of starts off slow and eventually takes over to a 60-40 or 70-30 role going into playoffs for this year. And they just drain him, get everything out of him. And,
makes sense.
Let CEH develop a little bit more, get stronger, understand the offense better. But that's what I think.
It's a good question.
Yeah. Back to the PPR thing, though, just quickly. I just think why change? I keep having this conversation about changing the league, but why change something that's not broke? We've had a non-PPR for 10 years. It just changes the dynamic to change it after the fact, I think. And I'd be open to starting a new PPR league with some of the same members, but I mean, it's just been running smooth, so why change it?
Well, there's something about it's like a classic as well. This league has, we have adapted new provisions, new protocols, new scoring, etc. But there are elements that are still from 2011.
Yeah,
and I kind of like it. I think it's it gives us sort of a throwback, exactly. So, next question.
This will be the last one for me. We haven't talked playoff percentages, And like, I think this might even entice some trading around the league. Like, you had that chart you always used to put it in like the power rankings and stuff. Do you still have access to that, AJ?
I do. You want to see the playoff percentages?
Yeah. And then like the question is, who above 50% will fall out and who under 50% will move in?
That is a fantastic question, man. Great way to close it down. So I'm just waiting for these projected standings to load. So the friends over at Fantasy Pros provide a league analyzer as part of the subscription. And so, we're looking at having access to this. So I'll just go right from the top. So I have a 99% chance of making the playoffs, 25% chance of winning the championship. No, let's redo it there. Sorry, boys. Just waiting for it to, that was last week. I love it though. This year they introduced a championship percentage, whereas they've never had that in years past. So it just gives you a little further insight.
I'm just thinking maybe this number will encourage a potential non-buyer now to either go for it or someone to be like, you know what, next year.
Let's start at the bottom. So Mixon administration is Craig. He's got less than a 1% chance of each. Rose is slightly better. He's got a 1% chance of making the playoffs. JV's 6%. And then we get into the guys that are actually, they have meat on the bone still. So Cody Powell has a 36% chance with a 3% chance of the title. And then it really gets serious. So Reynolds, your 50% chance with the 7% on the title. Bentley Beckham, a.k.a. Diesel, he's got 53% chance of the playoffs with the 6% on the title. And then this is into the playoff territory, the top six. So my brother is a 59% playoff entrant, and he'll win 4% of the time, which is interesting. He's got a lower championship percentage than Dorian. Interesting. And then we get into the real heavyweights. So Jake is 63%. Where are we here? Jake is 63%. Loudon is 68%. Chad is 71%. The duo is 93%. And then I'm greater than 99%. Interesting. The top three championship odds are Loudon at 10%. The duo, Silva, you and Nielsen, are 16%. And then they've got me pegged as a 42% chance.
Wow. Before I heard those stats, I was actually going to say I slide in and Cody slides out based on the current ranking.
Do you guys have any tiebreakers yet? Because I think that might be what's happening here. Because you've actually got a higher chance of winning the title. You, Jake, and Chad all have a 6% chance at the title.
Well, I've scored more points than Cody, and I've had about 120 more points scored on me, so that probably factors into something.
What's the tiebreaker? Is it head-to-head or is it points for?
I believe it's on the app actually, but let me just open it up and get it on record here. Just give me 1 sec.
So
head-to-head record is the standings tiebreaker.
Just looking at the top, okay, AJ's got multiple rings. Silva, you've got a ring. There's 2. Chad's got a ring. He's in 3rd. Mm-hmm. Jake's in 4th, but that was
Ed's team, right?
So Ed had, 2 rings or 1?
That was Liam's team.
Oh, that's Liam's team? Ed has 2, though.
Cody has no rings. Reynolds had
no rings.
TJ's team, right?
Yeah, no rings.
Whose team was it before TJ? Neil?
He was a Giants fan because that's who I got Lev Ball off.
Neil. Oh, really, eh? That's funny.
So, yeah, the cream is kind of at the top of the division here. The guys with the rings are still making things happen. So that's interesting to see.
That is very interesting, man. I love the way you framed that with the ring count.
So me and Loudon both have rings at 3 and 3. I could see if Loudon makes a good trade, which is just unfortunately not the trade he has lined up with Silva. Just joking. Just joking.
What is it? I want to hear about this.
So maybe me.
Nice.
and Cody and Reynolds slip out. That could be interesting. But I'm definitely getting into the playoffs. I will sell out.
This is going to be the hardest week for me to do the power rankings on Sunday morning because there's just so much proximity between basically 4-2 and 3-3. Like, I'm just going to lay it out there. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 3. We've got 7 teams ranked between 3 and 9. I mean, it doesn't get any more exciting for me, boys. Yeah. This is really where the hay is made, you know? Then you've got guys like Silva and I that are just, you know, I've got the button for the penthouse pressed on the elevator. I'm just waiting for the doors to close. So
that's funny.
All right. Well, let's get back on track here. So what I wanted to do next was switch over to my favorite segment and probably a lot of the listeners' favorite segment, and that's the Bet 365 with the Wiz. I know, Dorian, you said that you didn't necessarily have any locks for tonight because you hate the game, but I want to just bring to the attention of our audience. You went 2-1 last week. KC -3, Pittsburgh -3 were your hits, which I rode to glory, and then Green Bay -1 was the only falter, and I mean that was
back-to-back
a lot of people
by Tampa. What the fuck? Anyways, Green Bay should have pounded in that game, really.
Oh man.
Anyways, I don't like tonight's game. Divisional, both teams have injury issues. Both teams are just not good. But so I don't know. Like, if you said the Giants win by 20, I wouldn't be surprised. And if you said Philly won by 20, I wouldn't be surprised. So, but I think it could be a lot closer. I just don't want any part of it. I might look at a game time touchdown scorer. Probably something like one of the backup running backs, like Boston Scott or Freeman for an anytime, possibly.
Freeman's 2.5 on an anytime. I really like that. Boston Scott's the favorite for the game at 1.7.
Yeah. I don't want to touch the game really, so I won't make a call on that. And then picking games for Sunday on Thursday night's always hard. A lot of guys take the day off Wednesday of practice, so then you have all these questionables in the players' injury reports.
Let's give us one. I want your doom just based on your initial. You don't have to tell your name to it necessarily, but I'm gonna just while you're digging into that, I'll just give the audience my homebrew pick. And again, this is not on the level of the Wiz. This is bet at your own risk. But I like divisional games with spreads outside of 3 points, especially when the division is as putrid as the NFC East. So I'm going to take the Giants +4.5. I think it's a 2 to 3 point game, and they're both putrid. So why not fly with the points? Yeah. Like I said, buyer beware. So do you have anything you want to throw in bet wise? You're usually on point.
Yeah, I hate the lines this week. I'm waiting for them to move in someone's favor. I have like a silly just increase the bankroll bet.
Yep.
Bills, Packers, Chiefs money line. It pays like 2.2.
Bills, Packers. Yeah, Bills money line paid nothing.
Yeah. I know.
You know what, AJ? You'll probably love that bet. Bills -12 against the Jets. You're gonna take the fucking Dolphins -20, and the Bills are a much better team. So
I did take them. I won last week on a -19.5. I literally looked over at Dorian mid-game and I said, Sylvia, you'll love this. I look behind me. I look towards him at Dorian. I'm like, Flacco's not going to do anything. In fact, the Jets, what can they do? And it was, what was it, Dorian? 14-0.
Yeah.
So I took -19.5 at the half.
That's incredible.
And they ended up winning. I mean, it's one of those things where I said it earlier, Silva, your eyes don't lie.
Yeah. No, you're not wrong.
You're looking at Joe Flacco, and I'm just like, you got a great haircut, and you got a little just for men gel going, but you're still shit.
Yeah. What did that pay? Like 3, 4?
I'll pull it up right now.
They were already up points when he took that.
I will pull it up right now.
So
Dorian, while I pull this up.
Here's what I like. Just on first glance is what I like. I like the Saints to rebound at home versus Carolina, but I don't like 7. So I'd probably adjust that spread to I'd probably just go to 6 or maybe even 6.5 and say the Saints win by a touchdown. I actually like Atlanta this week to beat Detroit. I don't like anything Matt Patricia's doing in Detroit, and Atlanta seems to have a little bit of spark in their eyes. And let's not forget, they could easily be a fucking 4-1 team right now if they didn't blow a couple like crazy leads. New coach there. Ryan's playing fired up. A couple guys playing for hopefully new trade. So I'm going to take Atlanta minus the 2.5. I like the Packers to rebound. I think if the Packers had handled Tampa like they should have this week, the spread would be a lot different versus Houston. Mm-hmm. So I'd probably change that and take Packers -3 to beat Houston.
Okay.
And the other game I love is Seattle versus Arizona. Seattle kind of just gets me fired up again. I would change that spread to probably 3 instead of 3.5. But yeah, Russ. Okay. Russ is
but Dorian, better. You said it best. Like you're changing all these lines by a point or a half a point.
Yeah. It's not a great week. It's not a great week for sure. And a lot can change, and I don't know which way the line's going to go. But I think that Seattle line will move away from where I want it, and potentially the Green Bay line too. So
I've got, just to recap, so I've got Bills, Packers, Chiefs money line as sort of a lock pick, a low payout lock pick. And then on Dorian's, I've got Saints adjusted, Atlanta -2.5, Green Bay -3, and Seattle -3. So if you guys have to go out there, this is to our audience, if you guys have to flex those alternate spreads to match these, then so be it. But Dorian, if you had to pick one of those for our fans, which one would be? Yeah, the Doom.
Fuck, I never want to put Atlanta as my lock of the week. I'm going to say Seattle -3 versus Arizona.
Are they at home?
No, they're not. But
-3. Well, I like it. So that's the one I'll put in bold.
Yeah, Seattle's good. Seattle's got a good team.
They're very good against the run, and they're going to make Kyler Murray stay in the pocket. I think Pete Carroll's a very smart coach. He's really good at neutralizing, and I think I personally think that Kyler Murray is going to have to throw, and I know he can. He's accurate, so we'll see. All right. So let's move on. So we've got a huge, like I said, I'm so excited to be releasing the next iteration of the power rankings this weekend, and it's because the schedule is jam-packed. So let's get right to it. I'll start just at the top. Me and Loudon. Corey needs a W at 3-3 to keep pace in the bubble. Him and I are actually going to get together. So I don't know if you wanted to all watch together, Dorian, on Sunday, but sure. What do you guys think about that matchup? I'm not sure if you've had a chance to take a peek at it.
You versus Loudon?
The NFL spread is 113 to 90. Let's call him 98. 113 for me, 98 for him.
I don't see him being able to stay competitive in this game.
He's got some running back issues. Mostert's out, and he doesn't have a replacement, really. Zach Moss, Tony Pollard.
You don't have any big buys. Oh, no, yeah, you got okay. But Garoppolo's decent. Yeah, I'm going to say you put Loudon away this week. If you get some performances like you've been getting, the spread's going to be crazy again. So I'd say Loudon's probably needs to put up 120 points to remain competitive in this one.
Mm-hmm. I hate to, so you're going to...
I'm actually going to go the other way.
Good. Be bold. Yeah, you know he traded for Dalton, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I know.
Just checking.
Andy Dalton will not be the starting quarterback this week, I'd assume.
You think he's going to go with... Oh, I see what you're doing. Got it.
There we go.
Okay.
So I'm going to go Loudon.
Oh, boy.
Wow. I already think you of Loudon.
Yep.
So Silva's trying to plug his trade by calling him to win if he makes the trade. Creating some urgency.
Nice tactic.
No bias there. No bias there. Okay.
No, not.
You should be finishing work shortly, so we should.
I love it, man.
Well, Loudon, just before you pull any triggers, run it by me because I like to just kind of go over things and make sure everything's above board.
There it is. The next, and this is featuring one of our hosts here. So it's the dynamic duo of Kyle Silva and Chris Nielsen going up against the league bad guy in Chad. Just a little detail. This is a battle for the bye, in my opinion. It's 2v3, and it's going to create separation one way or the other because, you know, if Chad wins, he holds a tiebreaker in terms of leveling that out. And if you guys win, you're at 6-1.
Chad needs to put in a kicker.
I'm looking at the matchup right now.
It'll be close.
Chad, if I'm being honest, Chad without Saquon has no bite. He does have Russell Wilson back, and he's got some sneaky guys, but LaMichael Pirine and Devontae Freeman are his starting 2 running backs. And you know, take that for what it is. You've got Mixon, who I personally think is eternally underrated. And then I've got you holding Montgomery in your flex and Drake is your RB2. So I just don't see, and then obviously you've got Mahomes to counter his Russell. The NFL.com spread, let me just pop that up now. So that looks to be you by 15. And I think that's not big enough. I think you'll probably crush it.
He's got no kicker. He's got no kicker though right now.
That's his style, man. If you followed him in the past, I mean, what's a kicker going to add you? 6 points? I think it's going to be a 20-point blowout.
Really, I got Silva and Nielsen winning this one, but it'll be close. Yeah, unless Russ goes Nuketown, which he could, because you know it's Russ. But thankfully, you got Mahomes playing Denver. So, anyways, I'm gonna give you guys the win. But
okay,
close. Probably like an 8-point spread or something.
The next one we've got is Jake against Rosie. And my note was just not to sleep on Rosie. I think as his team gets to be a little more healthy with Thomas and Bell now landed, I think he's a spoiler in the making. You know, I mean, Jake is definitely projecting. His trajectory has got him in the playoffs. And once CMC comes back, I mean, he just needs to bridge the games until he gets there. So what do you guys think about this game?
I am fast asleep on Rosie. Snoring, snoozed the snooze button 3 times. Don't wake me up. Not when September ends. Never. I'm asleep. Rosie, not only is it time for him to just accept his fate, he shouldn't even be trying to be competitive right now. He's going to fuck himself out of the 1-1 by going like 2 and whatever. Or like
it's hard to let go, man. Like Jay-Z.
I think Rosie wins this, man.
What? That's the problem.
I think Rose wins.
And then what?
Wow.
Now he doesn't have the 1-1 opportunity or as much of a shot at it. Wakey. Next year. Start playing for next year, Rosie. Anyways, I hope Jake pounds him. It would be nice if Rosie did win because it doesn't affect me. He gets a shittier pick. It throws a little mix up with one of the top guys taking an L from one of the bottom guys. Like that's good news for the league. Like
who do you have, Dorian?
I got Jake. I think Jake.
Yeah, I got Jake as well. I think Jake's just a little bit too deep.
Time to move on, Rosie.
I'll take Rose, man.
They've got. You know what, man?
Silva's just going with the crazy dogs so that if one of them happens to happen, he can be like, I called it. I was like, yeah, you called all the fucking dogs.
Rosie's projected to win by 10.
I was just ratings. Why don't you go use their player ratings?
I know. I'm just saying.
No, I'm with you, man. Listen, look at it across the board. It's not like there's any gaping deficiencies. You know, I mean,
Thomas is questionable.
Robert Woods, Calvin Ridley, Henry Ruggs, Marvin Jones against Michael Thomas, DK Metcalf, T. Higgins, and Adrian Peterson. You'd probably take the side that has Michael Thomas, and that is Rosie. So just to sort of put it out there, you know, I don't know. I think Jake wins it because I think that Kyler is going to have a game, but you know what? It is what it is. I mean, he's just been underperforming. So if Jake comes out and performs as he should, I think that it's his. So next one is Craig versus Reynolds.
Grenda, can we get a name change?
Yeah, let's just spit that out there. Silva, I'll let you take the reins on this. I mean, how bad is Craig's name right now?
It's like I give him a week after the trade, but it's time.
Okay, here's the question: is Craig disengaged?
No.
Is he? Because the game change is just. He's probably just like whatever. This league doesn't matter. He's probably got another league where he's semi-competitive in it, and that's his league now.
Any guy that's 0-5 or 0-6 or 0-7 and still making their waiver grabs, to me, that's a sign of a guy that's at least still as plugged in as you can hope him to be.
Okay.
That's also just sort of as another aside. That's why the consolation was so important to introduce, because guys are gonna stay engaged to some degree. You know, I gave that to Reynolds. I think that Craig is an O team.
I think Craig will stay kind of in this one a little bit, but I think Reynolds just eventually pulls away and puts up a W, which I don't want him to have because he's one of the guys I'm competing against. But
what about you, Silva?
I think Reynolds has too much firepower here. I'm not going.
Okay.
I'm going to follow you here, bud.
Nice. The next one is Cody v. Cody.
The Battle of the Codys. I don't know.
I love this one. I love this one.
So massive for your brother.
Huge for both.
Is this it? Is this the make or break game?
I mean, this will put him to 4-3 if he loses, and it would put Powell to 4-3 if he wins, and that's your game. That's your game breaker right there. You just broke open.
So does the loser become an automatic seller after this game?
I don't think that's the case.
4? Well, it's really a 2-point game, right? Because one of the guys you're competing with is going to get the win over you. So you're kind of it's like
if you put Blankenship in here, if you put Blankenship in there with, let's say, 5 points, this is the closest projection NFL has given us to this point. They're literally going to be neck and neck. I think they've both built. I mean, as Josh Allen and the Bills go, the Joshua 3 goes.
It's true.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
All right.
I'm going to say Cody. They play the Jets.
I was just going to say Silva. So who do the Bills play? I got my brother taking this one down.
I'll follow you.
Yep.
Fuck, this is a close one.
I know.
I'm gonna go Cody P.
Cody Powell.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice. No lone wolf in that one.
Roethlisberger has a big week. He's gonna be down in that Tennessee game and throwing.
The last one is Dorian versus JV, and I just wrote bye beside it because Dorian, you're gonna steamroll him.
You think? Hopefully. Depends if Rodgers puts up more than 4 coins.
I can't see Rodgers having 2 back-to-back duds, man. I just don't see that happening. He's too, like you said, Silva, just get the guy mad.
And Watson actually plays Rodgers, so that's going to be
double
interesting. Fun little game.
Yeah. I got you, Dorian, so.
Yeah. Cool. I'm not going to pick any team starting Kirk.
That's awesome. Okay, so then moving on, guys. So that was nice. We've got a full week 7, and I'm really excited to see how that falls out. We're going to have lots of answers in terms of playoffs. So the next segment, and it's our second last, is the trade review. We only have 2. The first one was Andy Dalton 10-11 for Preston Williams 3-6. I know that you guys probably thought that was an overpay, and I'll just let you know that he came to me. So, I mean, I said I'd sell him for a 2. I said, get on him early before he goes off. He took the nibble, and unfortunately it didn't go his way. But
I think it's partially my fault because I was chewing on Minshew in the week before, and then Loudon probably got panicky and went, and I don't know how he got to Dalton. I wish people came to me and asked me about trades before they do them with you. Like everyone goes and asks you about trades before they fucking do them with me, because I would have given his head a shake. I would have said, Loudon, wakey. Wakey, Loudon. Wakey. Fuck's sakes. I don't know. Honestly, it could have been a lot different. It turned out he lost it. He rolled the dice. He lost it. You know, Dalton was a capable QB a few years ago. I thought he would come out and he just looked terrible. Maybe he needs more time under that offense.
That's what I said.
Loudon panicked once by making the trade. I don't know if it's time to panic again but whatever. You won the trade. He overreacted. It is what it is. You win the trade. You just took a waiver wire and cashed it in for some gold bullion, and that's it.
I mean, my goal is to get out of the 10-11 every year, right? I don't want to be there. I don't think there's any value there, really. It's really hard. So I have 2 10s, 2 11s. Now I have 1 10, 1 11, and my goal is to continue doing that. So what do you think about that, Silva? How bad was it for you from your perspective?
the Andy Dalton line is there for a reason. And Nielsen said that to me when we were both discussing it. We were like, like what can we get for Carr then?
Like in terms of a market comparison.
Yeah. And like, honestly, it's not terrible. Like Dallas has so many weapons, but Andy Dalton looks so bad. Like I don't
really bad. Yeah.
I think like the coaching staff is an issue. I think Dalton's an issue. Like outside of EE and like the wide receivers, they're a fucking dumpster fire.
Zeke looks worse without Dak too.
Yeah,
he does.
Well, now you stack the box.
Yeah, you can because
and they are. You can see it, man. They're just punching the ball basically.
This could be a big payday for Dak, though. To be honest, because if they go and whatever without him or whatever they go, it's going to be crazy. Loudon needs to go probably waiver a QB this week. Someone that's probably got a little bit more safety, and give Dak one more week. Or sorry, give Dalton one more week, see if he can do anything with this offense. And if he can't, then it's just time to look at other options. But Dalton's playing Washington this week too, right? So maybe it's a
divisional. Yeah. Okay, so the last trade is I actually really liked this trade. I thought it was very even. So Reynolds receives Justin Herbert 11, and my brother receives Brandon Cooks and a 4. Silva, what do you think about this? Yeah. Or Dorian, you want to go first?
No, go ahead, Silva. All right, whatever. I was talking to Cody. He loved Herbert. He was like, "Oh, I love this kid. I might move out and go with Herbert." And then then this deal comes along and he just blows Herbert out the door. This could look like an amazing deal for Reynolds in a year to come. The only reason I kind of don't like it right now is Reynolds is running with 4 QBs. And
we talked about that. That's strange.
And that's hard. 4 QBs, you can only start 1 a week. That gives you 3 bench spots just getting eaten up with nothingness.
Nothing.
You can't even hope for like a receiver that goes off 1 week in your flex. So for Reynolds, it makes no sense. For Cody, it kind of makes sense. But I liked Herbert. If I'm him, it'd be kind of be like me moving Burrows right now. It's like I don't see what's the point.
Early almost. Right?
Yeah, it's way too early. So I don't know. It's fair. Like it's a fair trade to look at, but it's either going to be a big win for Reynolds down the road, or it's not really anything for Cody. Does he keep Cooks? No. He got a 4th round pick out of it. I don't know.
What do you think, Silva?
I don't know. I think Cody's kind of undecided if he's going or selling.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
This trade screams that. So we'll see.
I personally think that he was never going to keep Herbert, even if Herbert showed something. I really think it's either he sells Allen and keeps Herbert, or Herbert then is just going to be wasted value. And I think that this was a week 7 play. He's starting Cooks, and he got the 4. So that's, that is what it is. Got out of the 11. I think Cody won this trade. I think based on what you said, Dorian, that, a year out from now, Reynolds could easily win this trade. But I think right now this is a rare.
Well, there's more upside on Reynolds' end, right?
Oh, there's way more upside, man. Way more upside.
And what did he lose? Not really much. So, but Cody kind of got a guy he can use right now. Reynolds.
A week 7. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. He's like paying a 4 for a scratch ticket.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of how I looked at it too. So I gave Cody the win on that one. So good.
Cool.
Well done. Well done, Cody. So we've talked, the last thing we'll look at here is just some of the pressing news. So I'm not going to talk 2 at a time. We already went over that and we talked about Lev Bell and KC. I do want to talk about the COVID protocols that the KFFL has introduced, just so that everybody can be on the same page. I've had lots of questions as to when and what and who. So just to summarize in brief, okay, you have the ability up until each week now, up until game time on Sunday at 1, or if it's an earlier time, the adjusted time, to provide to the league office a list of alternate players from teams that won't be affected by COVID. And so what that means is if you have starting players, you leave them in your roster, even though they may be exposed to a COVID bye-week cancellation, okay? And so those starters, they still get left in, but then what happens is you provide me with alternates for those players. And in the event that game involving your starters doesn't go, I will manually adjust your roster so that the alternates that you gave to me pregame will be started for you. So it's essentially, it's not managing your team. I'm not managing your team. I'm essentially saying if it's a one player deal, one player on your team is on the COVID list, you put him in the reserve spot. There's 3 of them. You can handle 3 players. This is not that. This is your team is not playing because the bye week has been rescheduled. And so you don't know. You start those guys and then it drops and they're not playing. I will put your alternates in. So I just wanted to get that out there. Do either of you guys have any questions on this?
No, pretty straightforward.
No, and I'll just put it into context. So right now I have David Montgomery who's playing Monday night. Mm-hmm. But if my Sunday night guy goes and Montgomery gets COVID overnight, that's why this isn't play, basically.
Right. Yeah. So exactly. You're not screwed with a 0 because the team was on a surprise bye.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or gets COVID.
Pat's COVID positive and Raiders O-line positive on the squad there. Any instant reactions on those?
Carolina's kicker.
Yeah, fuck, I don't know. It's pretty shitty. Raiders game. That'll be a big one for a couple teams. I think Chad's got Waller, Jake's got Ruggs, Jacobs. And they're playing. Who are they playing?
Tampa.
So yeah, Brady would be out, Evans be out. So if the game doesn't go, it's going to be a big mix up this week because there's enough players in this game. If it was like Jets Giants, would be but
one guy,
could be potential for 6-7 fantasy guys not going. So
no, and that's why I wanted to tie that into this. So you have any thoughts on those games, Silva?
No, like it'll be interesting, but
I think the NFL is cleaning up their act with regards to how they're handling this. Like before, I feel like it was like one test and the game's off.
Well, now I want to know what the level is because Cam had it, Pats went on and played. Now Carolina's kicker has it, but we're going on to play. So we'll see.
The last piece here was just a touching on Tyrod Taylor. He's back.
Yeah,
but he's not back.
He's done. That's over with.
So he got stabbed by the trainer and now he is without a job. I mean, life sucks sometimes,
I wonder if he gets like an insurance policy or something.
Oh yeah, definitely, man. There's definitely some coverage there, I'm sure. I mean, otherwise, I'm sure the owner just wrote him a check. I mean, why would you risk a lawsuit that could cost lawyer fees? Here's a check. I just avoided the lawyer fee.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he still gets to pay his contract, but he's probably playing for a career at this point. So. All right, does that wrap it up?
Yeah, it does. Thanks for joining us, Silva. It was a blast.
Hey, man.
We'll have to do it again.
Can't wait. Thanks for having me, boys. Take care.
All right, boys. Yeah, it was good.
See you guys
next week.
Take care.
Bye.